I'm author Mark Muncy,
And I'm author Erika Lance.
and this is Eerie Travels. Greetings, travelers.
Greetings, travelers.
What? Wait, you're not Erika.
You can pretend I'm Erika.
Yeah,
So
let's all pretend. That'll work.
yeah,
So,
Erika
it's the
is
magic of radio.
indisposed at the moment.
There was a time I went to see Phantom of the Opera, which is now closing on Broadway after
Oh,
a record number of performances, a record number of years.
so
And
sad.
I went to see it with the original London cast in 1989. I had saved up
Oh,
my
wow.
whole, college tuition money that I was going to go to college with, and I spent it on a trip to Europe. And was going to see the London cast. And as I sat down, they said, ladies and gentlemen, there's been a change in the program. Tonight, the part of the Phantom will not be played by Michael Crawford. It will instead be played by Robert Guillaume.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, I want to hear Michael Crawford. And the whole audience starts going, where's that name? Where's that name? We know that name. And then I start going, Benson? And the guy and the lady next to me said, you're right, that's Benson. And I'm like, yeah, Benson. I was like, with all these Londoners, little teenage me. And I'm like, you all would know him now as Rafiki. But man, did he nail the part. And he was amazing.
Oh, I bet.
And but the whole time we're all just sitting there going, man, that's freaking Benson, and he's killing it. So this is great.
The Benson of the opera.
Youngins. Benson was a show. There was a spinoff of an older show called Soap where he played a butler, and then later he was a deputy governor. It was very interesting.
That's okay. You can say me when you say youngins.
Yeah,
I understand.
Well,
I'm under 50, so I don't get the reference, but it's
remember
okay.
one time telling my friends at work, hey, did you ever see Remington Steele? And they all looked at me.
Oh my God.
Ancient, decrepit old man in history. So ever since then, I've always done that. But anyway, tonight, the part of Erika Lance is being played by our wonderful producer, Calista Muncy.
Hello. Thank you. Yeah, I'll pop in every now and then, give my feedback. I'll do as the listeners wanted us to and keep Dad from recording without Erika,
Yeah. Without a partner. I think the quote actually said without a partner. I don't think it specifically mentioned Erika by name. So
it's not talking about Erika though.
No, that's true.
We love her. I'm gonna channel her as best I can. Hold on.
All
Fuck.
Right.
Okay, we're good.
That's it. You got it. I couldn't tell the difference. That was amazing. It's like you're right here, Erika.
It's so good.
And speaking of right here, Erika.
Oh yeah.
We have breaking news.
Play the thing.
Oh my gosh. I love the thing so much.
I did it.
You did it while you were still here talking to me.
Wow.
You are a triple threat. You're a producer, you are a writer, and you are
a third thing.
Amazing sound Foley artist. So
that's me. I did open my mouth and the sound just it appeared.
Yeah, it was incredible. That's I don't know how you do that. It sounds
digress.
like a recording, but that's you doing that. That's amazing. But
what's our breaking news?
All right, so this news comes to us from one of the most trusted news sources on the planet, The Sun from London. So it's about 2 steps above Weekly World News and right around on par with National Enquirer. So for those of us not in the know, but sometimes they get it good and they get some good, and they sometimes have the news before anybody else does, and they do break some stuff. So as much as you got to take it with a little salt over your shoulder, this is still this is still some news. But anyway, the headline is Ghostbusters crew being haunted by ghouls while shooting underground in London.
Ghostbusters? Oh, like for the new movie.
For the new movie, yes.
Oh, wow.
Working on the new Ghostbusters film are convinced they'll be haunted by real ghouls. Several people have reported hearing strange noises on the set at night. And that they are filming in the London Underground, which is, their subway system. And it's abandoned tunnels, the tube. in central London were being used for scenes in the comedy sequel. A source said, that's an unnamed source, love that. They've been hearing really weird noises and it's freaking people out. It's spooky enough being in a dark tunnel deep underground, let alone there being ghouls too. I love how they keep calling them ghouls. That's very British.
It's very British.
Yeah, there have been past claims of several ghosts haunting the London Underground, although little is known about the tunnels being used for current filming. And this is before the major actors are flying in. This is all, B-roll and, initial photography, but the main principals, Bill Murray is flying into London next week, Finn Wolfhard. And by the time this airs, this will have been in the past. But this is the sequel to Afterlife. So this is
I hope the ghosts are excited. I mean, I would be very excited to see Bill Murray in my home.
If you're there, why not, right?
Absolutely. My boyfriend actually was just in the London Underground for the first time, literally 2 or 3 days ago. I picked him up from the airport the other day. Yeah. Of course he doesn't he doesn't see ghosts, so I'm assuming there wasn't anything for him to see personally. Guy,
but
yeah,
he's definitely the Egon of the group.
So. 100%.
But then again, we you never know until all it takes is that one door opening. So
I mean, that's a great segue into introducing our guest, who
so
I gotta say, one of my favorite people.
Another special guest. I am surrounded by two of my favorite people in the world right now, which is next
to Bruce Campbell, of course.
Yeah, Bruce Campbell and Sam Raimi are here. No, these are my next two favorite people in the world. I'm so thrilled to have our guest today. Should we do an introduction or should we just let the guests introduce themselves? What do you think?
I'm gonna give a little spiel real quick. I mean,
all right.
This particular guest, Mark called me a triple threat earlier. I think this guest is a triple threat. They're a Twitch streamer. They are a a Twitter genius. I love seeing their tweets. It's my favorite thing. And they are, I would say, the most orange-headed pumpkin energy princess that I've ever met in my life. And that is my wonderful sister, Elizabeth Muncy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I gotta gas you up, homie.
It's like a family reunion here. This is great.
It quite literally is, except you're on a computer.
Yeah, but it's cool. But we're all talking. It's all good.
Yeah.
And we recently got together to go see the Dungeons and Dragons movie,
which is great. Everyone should go see it.
A lot of fun. Yes, please go see it. It was a hoot. They did not endorse us at all, but we endorsed them.
Yeah, if you have the chance, bring your entire party. It's a blast.
Yes, yeah,
absolutely,
definitely. But so the reason we're doing this is not only because Eric is gone and we have run of the house, but no, you guys. When we first started reaching out for listener tales, one of the first listener tales I got was from Beth, which was so
no
funny.
Kidding.
Subscriber number 3, I think, and I think number 1 and number 2 were us. So,
I know.
I actually haven't subscribed yet. I'm trying to keep that professional filter.
The distance there.
Oh, so yeah. I was first 5-star review for y'all on Spotify.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and completely
no
unbiased.
Nepotism there.
None.
No nepotism there at all. So.
We love that.
We love that. Well, consider we have to counter some of those 1-star reviews from ex-girlfriends and their friends.
That's one of my favorite things about having a dad who was a bachelor for a lot of our childhood. But that's a whole nother episode,
Yeah,
but
episode itself.
This listener tale kind of floored me because I had heard bits of it, but I hadn't heard the whole story as a dad. And then I'm gonna let them tell our listener tale. Are you gonna read it?
Yeah.
As you sent? I think you should read it. And then
give the listeners a moment to get the popcorn and sit by the fire, get their blankets ready, get all cozy.
Yeah.
And get ready.
I'm excited for this.
Well,
and then
this experience takes place over literal months.
All right.
So
as opposed to figurative months. Sorry, I'll refrain from the sibling snarkiness.
Save it for.
Remember, this isn't the family D&D game. You're not
Yeah.
in character now. So let's let them.
Sorry.
We're professional podcasters at this point, so we we need to let them tell their story. So
Professional.
So I'm just gonna read the email as is, by the
that's
way.
perfect.
So
Please
the
do.
email goes, "Hello everyone. My name is Tofu, but the wonderful hosts and producer would know me better as Beth, paranormal enthusiast and Halloween expert. This story is basically a comedy of errors that could have ended much worse than it did. My sibling wanted a Ouija board for their birthday one year while they were in middle school, and despite my very vocal protesting this, my dad bought one for them. I had insisted that my sibling, along with two of their friends and my best friend at the time, use it in the then abandoned house across the street from us. Once it spelled out my dad's name, the connection was closed and the party was hurried back to our house. However, I had noticed something hiding in the mausoleum just next to the east side of the house. This was when Hellview Cemetery was a thing, so I had to say it like that. Don't worry about it. Mind you, this was at night, so I did have my retractable shuriken at the ready. Yes, I'm a weeb, I do not care. I also called a friend of mine, as he was an expert in the paranormal, and I didn't want to alert my dad to what my sibling might have unleashed. Upon inspection, the friend said what I didn't want to hear. We had a fearmonger in our backyard. Now, this was in late January in the early 2010s, so analog horror was popping off and Slenderman-based alternate reality games, or ARGs, were everywhere. Because me and my sibling were into this, my sibling was plagued with nightmares for months of the Slenderman, and we put it together years later that this was done by the fearmonger. These nightmares, if I can recall and if my sibling can confirm, ended around Hellview Cemetery opening up. I didn't even realize we had basically given this thing a month of fear to feed off of and hibernate. I only noticed the creature disappeared a month after deconstruction began. I had accidentally unleashed a fearmonger into the world. At least, I thought I did. I didn't get closure for this for years until I was talking casually about this story to a psychic. Apparently, the thing had been banished, so everything turned out all right. Moral of the story: Mark should listen to his children when they say buying a haunted thing is a bad idea.
I'll be real with you guys. There's a reason I wanted a Ouija board, and it was because I was doing a school project and I wanted to film people misusing a Ouija board for the school project.
Wow,
And
I didn't know that.
I'll have you know that got aired on our middle school morning show at Metal on Middle School. And I got nominated. We did not win, but I did get nominated for like a middle school like journalism award thing for it.
Oh,
I
wow.
didn't win. The only thing that any of our school won at this whole thing was a raffle for a free iPod Nano that I didn't know that everyone in the audience was signed up for, and I did win the iPod Nano,
So
which
there
I
you go.
broke, I think,
You are
2 days later.
You are an award-winning journalist.
That's me.
Yeah, you don't have to say how you got the award. You are an award-winning journalist.
That's true. I stand by it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can't control
that's
what
like
my
a
friends
lot of those-
decided to do with the Ouija board. But they did do that.
Okay.
And we were convinced that the house was haunted in some way and somehow connected to Slenderman. But we were also like, 12.
Yeah.
So we weren't bright and we didn't really think about the consequences of our actions. But we absolutely did some crazy shenanigans. And definitely I remember those nightmares that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Because it was kind of set up like the video game, that Slenderman video game where you're like going and collecting the different notes through the woods.
Pages. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pages, yeah.
Yeah. It was a lot like that, except it was in our backyard, and it was me going through the maze that we would set up in Hellview. So it was really weird.
Well, let me tell everybody a little bit about what Hellview was, because I'm sure the
Yeah.
audience needs to know this.
Oh, I guess people didn't grow up there. They might need context.
Yeah. So there's a few contexts here because Beth's talking about a mausoleum next to our house and all that.
Well, I'm sorry. I
So-
helped to build the thing.
So what we did and where this kind of all started was in 1996. We started setting up a Halloween display in front of our house. I was working Halloween Horror Nights, and I had a new child was in the house, and
I wasn't yet.
yeah, there
That
was
was
another
me.
one coming soon, but not there yet. But we were working at Halloween Horror Nights, but I also wanted to decorate our house. We had just moved back to St. Petersburg, and I finally had a house that I could decorate for Halloween. And we just did a basic little thing. And before we go any further, I think we should pause real quick for a commercial break, and then we'll get into this. Okay?
Okay. Sounds good to me. I mean, I do see the little Zoom timer, so I get it.
Yeah. We don't have Erika's all access Zoom, so
Gotcha.
so we'll be back
We will.
after
We've
these
got
words from our sponsors.
Yay.
who are also us.
Erie, Appalachia. Gear up for a frightful jaunt into the darkest reaches of the ancient Appalachians. Folks deep within the Appalachian hollers lean close to the campfire to share stories of the inexplicable with hushed awe. Monsters rumbling in the hills, strange lights darting through the pitch black night sky, horrible occurrences almost ineffable in their bizarre tragedy. Tall tales, you might say. Tell that to the Flatwoods monster in Braxton County, West Virginia, or the Goat Man of Louisville. Look into his humanoid eyes and let him know you don't believe. And what of those apparitions in Mammoth Cave's Corpse Rock, or the Satan spawn known as the Jersey Devil? How do you respond when confronted by these mysteries? From the metaphysical energy that swirls near Serpent Mound in Ohio to Point Pleasant's Mothman legacy, Mark Muncy and Carrie Schultz explore the dark history lurking in the shadows of Appalachia. Read by Mark Muncy, author and experts on strange folklore with appearances on shows such as Ancient Aliens, The Curse of Robert the Doll, and many, many more.
Greetings, mortals and others. I'm Dick Terhune, the voice from hell. I work with haunted attractions all over the US, Canada, and Europe to increase audiences and enhance their experience with highly effective commercials, narrations, animatronic character voices, whatever your dark heart desires. Let me help you do more, scare more, profit more. Find out more at Voice from Hell on Facebook and at voicefromhell.com.
And we're back.
Yay.
Yay, we're
Yeah,
back.
that was an early commercial break because there was a lot to unpack there, gang.
Yeah.
And all right, so a fearmonger, which is not a term I had heard much before this, and also kind of one of those dramatic terms like
what is it, like a
Warrens.
fishmonger?
The Warrens are really good about doing this. What was fun, I remember our good buddy Dale
Classic.
reminded me of an old Marvel villain called the Hate Monger. And it was like, and he was basically a fascist, worked for a modern day Red Skull, low level Captain America villain, and I had kind of forgotten about him. But anyway, so there's a lot to unpack there, and first off, we've got to start with Hellview Cemetery.
Yes.
So settle in, folks. This is going to be a bit.
Yeah, I know before the commercial break, we had mentioned that you had done like a little display.
Little Halloween display. And then I decided after the next year, we did Horror Nights one more year. And I had another little one kind of on the way. And I was like, oh no, so I need to be home more. I can't be driving to Orlando and scaring people. And they were also expanding their weekends. It was now no longer just a couple weeks of Horror Nights. It was going to be a whole month. And I couldn't do that for a whole month. So I was like, nope, all right, can't do this. And decided, my friends and I said, you know what, we'll build a bigger display. And we decided to make a pirate ship, and we did a full-on display. And while we were doing that, we were building a grave out in our graveyard, our pirate graveyard. And as we were digging, we found seashells, which were, makes sense. We're in St. Petersburg, Florida, which at one point was all underwater. So we're like, okay, so that's a little interesting, but it was a lot of them. And then we dug a little more and we found bones. Now, we weren't sure what kind of bones these were.
Not the kind with David Boreanaz, I'm assuming.
Well, that's, that's funny you say that. That's what we were worried about, is that this might be a crime scene. So we called the police, and the
Fair.
police came, some ancient crime scene. We knew it wasn't recent, but you never know with these things. Like, this could be a cold case.
Fair.
And they got there, and the police do a quick little thing while my kids were still babies, so they don't remember any of this.
I feel like I remember a little bit of something about it.
I don't think you were born yet. So
Oh, well then I don't. This is a false memory.
But
I remember helping dig the hole, and that is it.
yeah, I think you were very, very young. And then but the guy digs up the bones, and he says, "Oh, this is probably an archaeological site, not a crime site." So I was like, "Oh, okay." So then next thing you know, we have an archaeologist from USF came over and is like doing testing and all this, and he's like, "Oh, these are animal bones, these are not human," and all this, thank goodness. And then he goes, "It's you're probably on a shell midden," which was one of the native, a shell midden, which is what one of the native tribes used as a garbage dump. Basically, they were,
hell yeah,
they were attracted to these lands just like the rest of us. Nice weather. Hey, we just got to dodge these weird storms that come every once in a while. And they would just pile their garbage, cover it with dirt, pile their garbage, cover it with dirt, pile their garbage, cover it with dirt, and make mounds, but not burial mounds, but shell middens. And so that's as far as we know about those. But they were like, all right, so it's it's a historical site, and it's a shame it's been bulldozed for your house. But it's not really, the whole island, all of St. Petersburg was filled with them at one point, but now they're gone. And sad, but that is the way of progress. And then in passing, he goes, "Well, I'm just glad it wasn't one of the lost cemeteries of Tampa Bay." And I was like, "Lost cemeteries of Tampa Bay? What? How do I not know about this? I'm building a haunted house, and I'm building a cemetery." And so that's when I discovered that there were all these frontier family settler cemeteries that had disappeared. People had built over them, and they were just gone, lost to history. And sadly, a lot of them were slave cemeteries, and now we're just now finding them as we rebuild Tampa, and as we rebuild things, we're finding these lost cemeteries all over the place. And one of the things,
just like that, Mark Muncy of Erie, Florida, was born.
Yeah,
as he researched his first story.
And that's exactly what it was. I was like, this is pretty cool. And I saw one of them was named Hellview, and I was like, oh, the Tales from the Crypt fan in me went, oh, well, then ours has got to be Hellview. Yeah, and we came with this whole idea of Hillview with the slash marks over the eye, to make it Hellview. And then, that became the premise of our haunt. And then, so we decided, most of our stories were going to be true urban legends that we were just going to convert and make them spookier for our haunt. And most people going through the haunt didn't notice, we had werewolves, but we had stories for them, and we had all that up on our website. And this was a GeoCities website with, an AOL address. And that was where we first put up the Tell Us Your Ghost Story link, and which started all this craziness. So that's the proto Erie Travels, right? Was our haunted house. And so we started doing the haunted house, and it kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And every year we decided, we met Leonard Pickle at HauntCon one year, and he told us how to build a proper haunt. And then Larry Kirchner, and I love that those two are kind of like rivals. But we met him at another event, and he gave us some more tips. And the next thing I know, we're putting on a good show, and we started having hundreds, thousands of people.
There was one weekend, if I recall, I want to say this was a couple years before we got shut down. We did 3,000 people in one weekend. It all walking through our yard, which, by the way, our yard wasn't a lot of grass. It was mostly dead grass. It was a lot of dirt. So people were kicking up dirt, and I was sitting outside in this haunted house because I loved doing it, and it was really fun. Me and my sister had our own characters and our own stories that we had written for it. It was really cool. But also, after the haunt, I would blow my nose, and all of the snot would be black. Because I had inhaled so much dirt from this.
I mean, we started putting down,
Yeah.
mulch. We tried all these different things to try
Nothing worked.
Nothing worked. It did not. When you have that many thousands of people walking through
Yeah.
and especially like I said, again, St. Petersburg, it's all the grass here doesn't grow anyway because it's salt water all around us, so the earth is literally salted, and and it's all just sand. There's no real good healthy dirt to grow things in.
I will say it was really great because it means we didn't actually have to hire a lawn keeper for literal years.
Yeah, that was great. That was nice. Yeah, especially since I hate mowing the yard. Anyway, yeah, so that was.
So we had a haunted house.
We had a haunted house. So
in the most literal sense.
And in the a literal haunted attraction, and with this attraction came the fun things. You're decorating your house, you're doing all this fun stuff, and we would start building in July for October, and that's how involved this haunted house was. And we put on a heck of a show, if I do say so myself. But
and you do often.
Yes. Yeah. In the meantime, what we had apparently stirred something up, something spooky.
Yeah. Other than the dirt.
Out in the backyard. And that was this entity
Yeah.
that there's no other way to describe it, that fed on fear. And it had a pretty healthy feeding frenzy every October, but that meant the rest of the year it needed other things.
Yeah.
So and sadly I didn't realize it was bothering you guys. I thought it was just bothering us grown-ups. So
that's okay. I mean, we weren't really forthcoming about it because I don't think we really realized what was going on. Like, I just assumed.
Also, we were kind of processing, messy divorce, messy custody.
Oh yeah, that was in the middle of all that.
Going through it at the time.
There was a lot to process there.
There was a lot going on. And we don't have to trauma dump on the podcast, but there was definitely other stuff going on.
Something else going on. But I did have friends in high places. And so I had the house blessed several times. I had some Native American friends of mine brought in a shaman to do a peace offering and all this stuff. And and what was funny was literally one night at the haunt, I'm in my character, the caretaker, out front. I greeted everybody as they came in, and one of the groups came through was a paranormal group, and they said, "Hey, we're just coming to have fun." I went, "Oh, great. Good to see you all. Stay safe and see you on the other side," was my catchphrase. And then they would come out because you would come out on the other side of the haunt. That was the joke, and they would come out and they came over to me and said, "Did you know that you have a fearmonger in your backyard?" And I was like, "Do you have to pay them?"
So that's the second time we've mentioned the term. So I guess you could explain a little bit. What is a fearmonger? It's
not a common term.
Yeah.
But it was mostly coined by some of the more European parapsychologists as and mostly demonologists would do this, where they would go in and they would discover a place that had a negative spirit, something that just and it would enhance your terror. So it was like a living nightmare. It would make you release those endorphins that you had from having a nightmare, night terrors and stuff like that. And that, that's the common theory about this thing. I personally, again, I just say this is stuff we don't understand. I don't like when they label things, it's, I think this is something that needs scientific study, but most common, I guess, is Chillingham Castle, which is, I believe, in Ireland. They had an oubliette, a forgotten place where people were just, you put them in there and then you never talked about them again, and they just die in there. And thousands of people were thrown in that over, the centuries of that castle. And that was supposedly, they had an elemental fear creature that had spawned from all these deaths.
It is not Ireland. This is producer check-in. It is Scotland.
It is Scotland. My apologies, Scots. Apologies.
They're gonna be.
Aren't you Scottish? Come on, man.
I know. We're of Scottish descent. We're Clan Campbell. Come on,
dude.
So angry.
So angry. But we all, but I'll blame
Scotsman
my
jail
ancestry, the Monceau clan. So we'll.
The damn French.
Scots, we think you're fucking great. That's oh man. But anyway, yeah, so that's a fearmonger. It's a creature that feeds on fear, and it causes more fear to feed on it. So until you run out of energy, and now no one has ever been scared to death by one, despite popular opinion on this. No one's ever really had.
It's more possible, but it's not like
there's
it's a non-zero chance. But it
like being killed by a duck. Or pockets.
He is very vicious.
Yes,
he can be. Yes.
Yeah, he'll give you kisses until you die.
Yeah,
so sweet.
Tongue of death, if you will.
Yeah, and Claudius,
I don't like that.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's let's strike that from the editing. Their producer. So
yeah, I'm on it. Don't worry.
To corral that. But all right. So all that said, I had heard that term, and then I see this email, from my daughter, and went, wait a minute, how did they know about that? I never told anybody about that. And so maybe that psychic from that paranormal group was onto something. But
maybe. I mean,
now there are other ghosts in this house, and that's the other reason I wanted you both on. So
I was about to say, the fearmonger was definitely something that was weird. Like, I do remember one night I had a panic attack in the haunted house. I was sitting in what is our carport. It's not a garage, it's not closed in, but it was part of the haunt. So it was like set up as like this little kid's room, and for many years I was the creepy little kid in the room. And I don't know, there was just one day where I just got this wave of just really bad energy, and I was not feeling it. I was like panicking. I was full on freaking out, and I had no idea what came over me or what happened, but I felt like the area just get really warm, rather than cold, which I know cold would be a thing that would make more sense, but it felt really hot. Like I was burning up, and I just felt really insecure and really scared. And I couldn't really pinpoint it to one thing or another. So I came into the house, and I was like crying. I was like shaking. I was rocking back and forth. And one of our family friends, a woman named Sally, came up to me, and she was like talking me through, like, picture this warm ball of light, and like picture that you're holding it and that it's near your chest, and then picture it covering you and protecting you and filling the room that you're in. So doing something like that, I don't think would have really pulled me out of a panic attack necessarily. And my panic attacks usually feel very different from that, but it pulled me out of whatever was happening. So I mean, Sally's, always had that sort of like spiritual vibe. So I assume it was some sort of like protection spell or something.
Yeah, Sally's we're gonna have to have her on the show at some point, because
absolutely,
she's actually a dogman expert and a anthropologist, and she's also one of the people that started me on the Kudzu Kelpie Trail. But she's also is it Miccosukee or Ojibwa? I forget, one of the tribes, but
she's something.
She's definitely native descent. And then
I want to say she's part Cherokee, but
I think there's a lot of mix amongst them. So anyway, but I don't want to get into that too much, but we'll have her on at some point. But she definitely was an asset to have at the house.
She absolutely helped. But you mentioned the other ghosts, or I guess spiritual presences in the house.
And that fire one we'll get back to, though the heat one, we'll talk about him at some point. I used to call him Heiser. But let's talk about our friendly ghost, because we've done so you both have stories, and I would love to hear your stories, because I'll be honest, I'll go into the back history of her, but I want to hear your stories. I know you both have encounters with her.
I can start, because I can tell my story and my lovely spouse's encounter with this ghost as well. So my first encounter with our house ghost was, I was 5 years old. I distinctly remember this. And I looked out of my bedroom door. I don't know why. It was like sometime after midnight. It was like 3 a.m. or something like that. And I had looked out from my bedroom door across the hallway to the open bedroom door that held my little baby sibling in it. And I just saw these images, these flashing different colored images of a silhouette of a woman in Civil War period clothing holding a baby, just walking in a circle. And my memory kind of ends there because I was 5 years old.
Yeah, that's a fuzzy memory. So,
though more recently, this entity, this ghost, she has this weird way of being able to judge a person on the content of their character, even if they've just entered the house. It's very similar to when like a cat starts hissing at a new person or a dog starts barking at a new person, but like in a bad way.
And we've said this on the podcast before. I'll say it again because I know Erika would. We trust animals. Listen to them.
Yes.
They have different senses than us. They know what's going on.
Yes.
But I think in this case, maybe ghosts do too.
Yeah.
Continue. Sorry.
Thanks, replacement Erika.
But not. So what had happened was I, over the years, especially as an adult, had several people staying at the house at various points in time. And the house ghost would judge these people and whether or if they had bad intentions or just would eventually this friendship would go sour. She did not like them. She did not at all, and she would try her best to scare them. Now, my lovely spouse, they actually saw just an orb of light just go into the bathroom and then come back out one night. And that was it. We do occasionally still have the occasional door creaking open, room getting slightly colder than normal, but we've accepted that it's probably just this ghost wanting some girl time.
I think also, like, I don't, the skeptic in me is like, that house is cold all the time. You guys are polar bears.
Yep.
I like
very
blanket.
much.
I like my blankets and hoodies. What do you say? What can I say?
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's definitely I mean, I've had interactions as well. Like, I know one of my earliest memories is of me just sitting on the floor playing with one of our toys, and one of them was floating across from me. And I was just sitting playing on the carpet of my room, which is I think now my dad's room.
Yes.
And I was just playing, and there was just something playing with me, and I don't know why, or even if that's a real memory, but it's something that like I've always kind of had in the back of my mind. But another thing that I remember is I would say that I was like 4 when this happened. So Beth, you would have been 7.
Yes.
We were coming into the living room. We had just woken up. The day before we had been like playing with our Barbies, which let's not get into the psychopath mentality of the things that we would do with the Barbies, because our Barbies, no clothes, no hair, like it was really
they had
terrifying.
a rough life. If Toy Story is real, the Barbies here were, man, they had a tough time. So
I mean, if Toy Story is real, I'm sorry, Barbie. I'm really sorry. I hope that
I think Sid
the Barbie movie doesn't get into it.
So
Yeah, it's not great. We put those Barbies through hell.
I'm going to the Barbie movie to atone for my sins to all the Barbies I used to have.
For real, honestly. But our Barbies had been through a lot. And I think we had like left them out after playing that day. Yeah, we would leave them on the floor a lot in the living room, and then we just went into our shared room and went to sleep. And the next morning we came out, and on the ceiling fan, we had a big ceiling fan in the middle of our living room. Every Barbie had their arms like in like a Superman pose, like fully out in front of them, and then their feet straight back. Yeah. And they were all balanced on the ceiling fan.
I remember this now.
Yeah.
And the ceiling fan was on, and it was spinning.
Yeah. But they were not flying off. Yeah.
They weren't flying off. It was so weird. And it's like when you're reading a poem and you're like, this is definitely symbolism for something. Yeah. Do I know what? No fucking clue.
No clue.
It's
Again,
something.
Yeah.
we don't know the rules. We don't know what these things are saying to us.
We really don't.
We went to shopping for Christmas at the mall, and we came home, and like the furniture had been mildly rearranged, not poltergeist style, like the movie where they're all stacked on each other and stuff. Things had just been moved a little bit. We thought we'd been broken into. And the bathroom door was closed, which we used to never, we still don't leave it closed unless somebody's in there. And I was like, the bathroom door's closed. So I grabbed a baseball bat, convinced, this is, if you're in there, you got, 10 seconds, we're calling the cops. You got to come out. And I opened the bathroom door, and the toilet paper had been arranged like some sort of spider web design of toilet paper, and it had been tied to the door from the inside. There was no other way into that bathroom. So to have done that had to have been done when the door was closed. Because when I opened the door, that was when it all kind of fell apart and all that. And that was a strange day. And I was like, what is this? What is our ghost trying to tell us? So
maybe she was an interior decorator in a past life. I really don't know.
I'm surprised.
What was funny was shortly after that was when we found Black Widow nest under the toilet.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So that's what she was probably trying to tell you then, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. At the time, I didn't understand it, but then I was like, wait a minute. But again, that's kind of a nice, neat me saying, okay, she was warning us about spiders. It could have been something else she's trying to tell us.
Maybe
it happened to be the thing we found.
Yeah, you know what? I'll air this out on a podcast. Maybe she was telling you to get a second toilet. On God. Because I remember there was a time when my sister was on the phone on the toilet in the bathroom for like 30 minutes, and I had to poop so bad I walked to the Starbucks across the street because we only had the one toilet in our house. And I wasn't about to wait 30 minutes for that toilet to let me flush it.
Single dad with two teenage kids. There's not much I can do about that. So.
Callie, I will have you know that still happens to this day sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm fully aware. You know why I have...
now there are 4 adults in this house with only one bathroom. So.
At every apartment I've ever been in, I've been like, I need to have my own bathroom.
Yep.
And this is why. Because I know myself and my irritable bowel syndrome, which we all have, by the way.
Yep.
Yeah. If I walk in the house, I need to be able to poop or I'm going to shit myself. And I'm not emotionally prepared to do that. I'm glad that we've talked about this. This is important.
This for our fans there. So
the
next thing when we do our next live show, I guarantee you that's what's going to be topic number 1.
Listen,
have you got more than one bathroom now? Well, we are all moving soon. So
yes.
Our homes are spiritual and our bowels are irritable. That's all we know.
Speaking of moving, that's what one of the things is going to come up is people are going to be like, well, what's going to happen to your ghost? What happens to your ghost when you move?
Oh, yeah.
This ghost, we think, is the same ghost that has followed me to a few locations.
Wow.
Back to my original house in Florida, which was in Shore Acres, which is a flooded area constantly. And which is saying a lot for Florida. But that was when we first rented a house when we came here. And my father, my mother, and my grandmother and I all lived in this house. And I had like half the house to myself, which was great. I had a big bedroom, I had a shower, and I had a little den area. And my parents weren't using it, so I turned it into my my game room.
Your man cave.
It would have been a man cave had I known what one was. It did have swords on the wall, from all my fencing swords and stuff.
Nice.
But
that sounds great.
And it was pegboard, like you're supposed to put tools. I put swords on it. Why not?
They're tools.
And there was something in that den room that was the closet area, just scared the bejesus out of me. I didn't want to go in it. Every hair on the back of my neck would be like, don't go in there, don't go in there. And then one day I was out in the living room and my grandmother was sitting there talking to no one. And I said, who are you talking to, Mama? And she said, oh, that lady who lives in your closet in your room.
Oh no.
Yeah.
No.
Like, such a sweet girl. And she's Sarah and she's sad. And I'm like, oh,
Aw.
oh. And I was like, well, so after that, I went to that closet and I said, hey, Sarah, I'm sorry you're sad. If you ever want to talk, I'm here for you. You know, and I was like, I'll talk.
And you wanted to do therapy for the ghost.
Well, I just was like, I'll listen. I'll listen. You know, I don't know. You know, don't scare me to death. And but I'm willing to listen. And then that was after that. It was like, okay, things got cooler in the room. Things didn't get weird. You know, and I had a couple odd dreams about this lady in a Civil War gown talking to me, and but never really put two and two together until years later when we moved to Orlando. And my first apartment in Orlando, again, my buddy Dale came up and said, hey, I think your ghost followed you from St. Pete because I think I saw her in the hallway. And I'm like, well, that would make sense. And then, you know, now here you are saying you guys have seen her a dozen times here, and we've always thought that that was Sarah or you know, our Civil War ghost. But that's, now, to be fair, that's also how Annabelle got started, was they to a doll that was haunted, and you know, and it was just trying to get sympathy. So
why do you always bring it back to the haunted dolls?
Well,
What is Dad?
you had haunted Barbies apparently, so
You know what? That's fair. I'm gonna go ahead and say you did ask a ghost if she wanted therapy, and then we got haunted Barbies.
Yeah.
So that's all I'm gonna say.
There is a connection somewhere there.
Like,
I'm not arguing that.
It's kind of like that connection with, like, my father records a documentary about Robert the doll, and then a week later, me and my sister are both in life-threatening car accidents.
Somehow we survived, by the way. Both of
What
us.
a mystery. That's crazy. Both of us totaled our cars.
But Robert saved your lives. So,
I don't-
you know, that's the important thing.
I mean, what I'll say right now is that Robert is a sweet, handsome boy, and that we love him, and that he's great, he's handsome, we love him. Robert's awesome. That's all I know.
I always sing his praises whenever Dad happens to let me into cons with them, and people always ask about the Robert the doll that we have, the mini one. And I always sing his praises, and I will continue to sing his praises until the day I pass.
Yeah, 100%. So that's,
Love
I mean,
Robert.
so here we are, you know, that's a lot of ghost stories.
Yeah.
That's a lot of tales.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness. I hope you're still with us, listeners. So,
Please.
you know, without now I'll say my other entity that we discussed briefly with you, with your fire and feeling on fire, feeling hot. We had,
was that not the fearmonger? Because this whole
that was
time,
no, it was another thing. This one started with our wonderful friend Jimmy.
God damn it,
my
Jimmy.
token redneck. He was out in the backyard before we had built the haunt. And he was out in the backyard because he had seen a gypsy moth that had landed on our back window of the kitchen area.
Oh no.
And while we were playing Dungeons and Dragons, I think, or it would have been Bureau 13 at that point. And it landed on the wall and on the window, and he thought that is the biggest thing I've ever seen. So he ran outside to check it out. And then the thing, like, he's like looking in the window back at us going, I don't see it. And then you see it like fly at him, and it looked like Kermit the Frog being chased by something. It was hysterical because you just see him running back and forth across this little window and this giant moth chasing him, and hysterical stuff. And as we calmed down from that, about an hour later, after he finally came in and we're all kind of calmed down, we hear some weird noises outside.
Oh no.
And I thought, okay, what somebody's in our backyard, because they heard us all laughing hysterically at Jimmy. So we all go outside to see what is going, and we had a grapefruit tree back there, and we had a couple orange trees at the time. They all died from a fruit blight a number of years later. But back then we had a lot of fruit trees, and suddenly the fruit tree, a couple oranges basically were like thrown at us. Off the tree, unripe oranges. It wasn't like they dropped; they were literally thrown at the house. And we ran back inside, all of us, going, "What the heck was that?" You know. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I got to see if there was like a monkey in the tree, because there was the Tampa mystery monkey. There were some other things that could it possibly be.
Or like a squirrel.
Yeah, exactly.
Why does your head go to cryptids instantly?
Well, no, the Tampa mystery monkey was actually this monkey that was running around Tampa Bay. Nobody knew where it came from, and it would just, terrorize people.
It was probably
Okay.
It was an escape pet, but they eventually caught it. But for a long time, he was like a local celebrity. I remember he had one of the early Facebook pages was the Tampa mystery monkey.
Very much the IKEA monkey of the day.
Yeah. And anyway, we go outside, and it was me and my friend Pat, and as we're out there, that's when like a bunch of grapefruit flew off the tree at us, and we were like, whoa, and we felt this smoky smell and this sense of heat, and we were like, okay, something is definitely wrong here. And so we went back inside and was like, all right, that's when we call help. And that's when I called help and had a group come and bless the house and bless the backyard and all that.
So 3 ghosts now in this house, by the way, that you are still living in and haven't moved out of.
No,
Not yet.
Well, a little while later, in the house, we noticed there was smoke in one of the rooms, it looked like, and we were like, oh gosh, fire. This would have been a few weeks later. And again, our gaming group, they went in there to see what it was, and what we saw was like a shadowy figure made of smoke, standing over what was my youngest kid's bed. And we got angry. They hadn't slept in that bed in a long time because they had grown up at this point. This was their old little toddler bed that was filled with toys. And we were like, okay, we're getting rid of this bed because we think it's tied to the bed, because every time we got close to the bed, that's when it would,
You let me sleep in that?
No.
Oh God.
Your room. Literally, we took that bed and threw it away. And while we were throwing it away, more fruit was thrown at us. Some other things was thrown at us. We were like, what the heck? This is like our exorcism of the house. And once we threw it out, it never came back. But we also filled that, that was immediately, I'm like, all right, moving the rooms around. You guys were gone for the summer with your mom when this all happened. So that was when
why we don't remember a damn thing about this.
And that was when I was like, okay, when you guys came back, suddenly you were in a different room, and I was sleeping in that room so I could fight this thing if it came back.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Just get a different house, dude.
Well, that was
sell it.
Everything that happened in that room was shortly thereafter the smoky incident. We had I felt a hand push me, and it knocked me into the closet. So we broke a couple closet doors, which are still no longer there. So I never replaced them. So
motherfucker. Okay. All right. So just like, this is why you're fine with bringing haunted shit into the house, because you're like, oh, come on in. Yeah, the more ghosts, the merrier.
Yeah,
Let's get 12 ghosts up in here. There's room for 1,000.
Well, that one was gone. That one we got. I had, like I said, I had the native tribe come in and help me get rid of that one. They said it was a negative spirit, and it was jokingly called it the squatter because it was living in your room while you weren't there. So I
forgot about that.
Yeah, so we called that one the squatter.
Yeah.
So not to be confused with our fearmonger, which was living in the backyard. So
of course.
Yeah. Well, again, I heard it was banished. I don't know how.
That was the shaman and the team they had supposedly banished it. They supposedly banished the fearmonger too. That was years later when I called them back. Yeah. I was like, hey, you got rid of the thing in the house. Can you get rid of the thing in the backyard? Just because,
I guess it's a happy ending.
Yeah. So
I don't know.
And now since, I don't think we've had any issues.
Not that I'm aware of.
Moral of the story, don't move in with Mark Muncy, because there will be ghosts. And if there aren't, he will invite more.
Or he will buy haunted things from Goodwill in the middle.
Oh my God.
Now we have Carrie, who is Ghost Lodestone and is like Ghost Kryptonite, so nothing happens when Carrie's around. So
which honestly good.
But,
reason number 1287 why I love Carrie.
Yes. One many more things. So all right,
Well, thank you, Beth, for coming on.
Yes.
And if our listeners want to find more of you, where can they find you?
Well, I have a link tree for everything, but
I'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah, but on Twitch I am that one fangirl. On Twitter I am that other fangirl. The only thing that's missing is the I, because the Twitter character limit. Gosh darn
back
it.
in the day.
Oh yeah.
Well, no, it's not the 2 R's. It's just the 1 R because of the Twitter character limit.
Okay.
It's wild. On Instagram and TikTok though, I'm that one or that other fangirl, but the O is a 0. It's a whole thing.
So
It's
the
just
link
easy.
tree's in the notes, gang. Link
Yeah.
tree's in the notes. So just
Okay, cool.
but yeah, if you're driving and trying to write all that down, I apologize. Oh my gosh. So
Sorry.
Don't worry, we've got it.
but before we go, we do have to I do have one more story from our wonderful Paranormality magazine. They have not written about Hellview Cemetery yet, but
No, but
Hey,
yeah, but they
It's
might.
only a matter of time, I guess.
I guess. But I do have news from them. This is not
Yay.
breaking news, but this is cool news. Yeah, we love them. And if you go to paranormalitymag.com and use the code TRAVELS, you'll get 10% off your total purchase. You can get digital issues, physical issues, you can get their merch, you can get a subscription, and it lets them know where you got it from. So it helps us too. But the story they have on their website was big news, April 11th, as of, we're recording this just about a week later. This was the Colombian model captures best UAP footage ever. As
Whoa.
discussed UAPs before, unidentified aerial phenomena, or UFOs. And this was Valentina Rueda Velez, I'm sure I mispronounced that, a Colombian
Cool name.
model, shared a clip on her Instagram account during a recent flight on a private jet. In the video, she claims to have seen something strange pass by her window while flying on April the 4th of 2023. The footage appears to show a diamond-shaped object flying by around 20,000 feet. Another diamond-shaped object. And UAP enthusiasts have seized on the footage, and one user on YouTube claimed it appears to be a saucer-shaped craft. The Hidden Underbelly, a popular UFO and UAP enthusiast, posted the clip on YouTube and called it the best UFO footage ever.
Wow.
And users in the comment sections expressed their excitement about the footage, believes it to be 100% real. Now a lot of people are like, oh, it's a balloon, because there's a balloon from Party City that kind of is that shape. But this is at 20,000 feet, and it was doing some maneuvering that, I don't think it could be a balloon. I also don't think it's a drone. It could be another man-made object. I'm not saying it's an alien, but it is an unidentified aerial phenomena. It's definitely something like that. And you can read that on their website. I'm sure there will be a more in-depth article coming in the actual magazine, but that's the fun stuff we love about Paranormality Mag. And thank them so much. So thank you, listeners, for letting us delve into that. What do you think of UAPs, Callie?
I think they're definitely something interesting to me. I like reading about them. I was recently editing the Hudson River incident
that was a great
episode.
Great.
I just conflated the name of it with the Dave Matthews Band incident, which is something else entirely. So yeah, UFOs are cool, and I guess make me think about the Dave Matthews Band River incident. So you don't know what that is? Google it. It's awful for the families involved, but man, is it funny.
All right.
Yeah.
I will say this: I did have a UAP sighting one day on my way home from work. I called you immediately afterwards. So I was on my way home from work. It was shortly after midnight. I was driving from west to east
in Tampa Bay,
in St. Petersburg. I was just driving, and I see a flash of a green light.
Yep.
Very War of the Worlds. And
green flame.
Green flame. But no, it was just a direct line, and it only blinked for like a moment, for just 2 seconds. And then unfortunately I had to pull over to get some food, but I immediately called Dad after it,
Yeah.
being like, okay, what did I just see?
And I immediately did what any good person who's seen a unidentified aerial phenomena should report to one of the local sites. And sure enough, that was the night of a meteor shower. And there was some green meteors, fireball meteors seen in that area. So, but
it was fun, and also the chances from anything coming from Mars are 1,000,000 to 1 started playing in my head.
yes.
Nice. You know,
Jeff Wayne.
I am glad that it wasn't another incident of some weird paranormal shit happening to the Muncy family, because quite frankly, I'm tired of it. I got shit to do. I'm editing podcasts 2 nights a week now. I can't be dealing with ghosts and shit. Like, I don't have the spoons for it. I have a dog. I have to take care of him. I have a 9 to 5. Like, ghosts.
So if you want us to have more time to deal with ghosts, please like, share, and subscribe. And that way, we beat the algorithms. We get out there more. We can get more sponsors, and we don't have to resort to ads for mobile games that you don't want us to talk about. You want us to talk about Paranormality Mag and fun things like that.
Listen, if Merge Manson knocks on my proverbial door and they're like, well, we'll give you like $10 a day if you do our ads on your podcast, I'll do it. I don't care. So that Callie can deal with ghosts more in their life.
Yeah.
So,
and also,
or actually,
Pascal.
But thank you again, Beth, for coming on, and thank you, Callie, for co-hosting for Erika while Erika is mid surgery recovery and all the other fun things. So
I'm happy to be here and insert swears wherever.
Yeah, exactly. And thank you, listeners, for putting up with this fun little interlude, a Muncy family Christmas here in May. So,
thank you, Beth, for your listener story. And if you have your own listener stories, please go to eerietravels.com, submit them. We're more than happy to read them. We recently just did our first Listener Tales episode, so feel free to send us more. We'd love to be able to do more and dig into your stories, because they're just so interesting. We might even invite you on the podcast. Like it's a really good time.
It's we have fun with it, and I hope you do too. And thank you all again. And Destiny, thanks again for the wonderful theme song. We're going to let you play us out, a good family friend of ours, Destiny Beard, and you can check out her music in the notes. Thank our sponsors as always, and as we always like to say, we'll see you on the other side.